Chapter 6, we are dealing with payroll, and we only cover the first two chapters. We do not get into gross earnings with piecework, and we don't get into any of the payroll taxes withholdings. So our first section just deals with calculating your gross payroll by taking the hours that you worked times your hourly rate. So hopefully if you've had a job, this should be somewhat review to you, looking at your paycheck every other Friday or however often you're paid. We'll also factor in overtime. So in most instances, if you work over 40 hours a week, you will get paid time and a half. So we have an example of a person who has maybe a salary, because sometimes individuals with salaries will still get paid overtime. Say you're an administrative assistant and you have a salary, but it's a busy time and you work 50 hours that week, you could get paid overtime. So that's the type of scenario that we have, just so then you can, that one's a little bit harder than just given the hourly rate. So if we have a individual who's a manager and he has a $738 salary per week and he normally works 40 hours a week, we need to do this first step to figure out, well, what is his hourly rate? Because it's going to be his hourly rate that he gets paid the overtime. So he's making $15.95 an hour. And then let's say in this particular week that he works 52 hours. So we know for the 40 hours, he's going to get paid his salary, the $638. So we don't have to recalculate that because we already know it. But for anything over the 40 hours, which in this case is going to be 12 hours, then he's going to get his hourly rate of $15.95 plus time and a half. So I just do it in one big straight line. So 12 hours times $15.95 times 1.5, we'll put it into the time and a half. That is going to give him $287.10. And then we add those two components up to get his actual gross wages of $925.10. So then that one, again, is a little bit harder. You may have one that it just gives you the hourly rate. Just know that anything over 40, you're going to calculate the overtime. Okay, then one other thing you want to know from this section is if you're given an annual salary, you want to be able to convert that into pay periods. So if you have, say, an annual salary of, let's see, like how about $32,500? If the problem asks you, okay, well, if your annual salary is $32,500, what are you going to get if you're paid weekly? So then what I do is I take the annual salary and I divide it by 52 weeks. So $32,500 divided by 52 weeks in a year gives me $625. Then what if I'm paid bi-weekly? Because now most companies are moving bi-weekly, so you're paid every other Friday or every other Thursday. Well, then there's 26. So don't get confused and think there's 24, thinking, oh, well, there's 4 weeks in every month. There's not 4 weeks in every month. There's 4 weeks in a lot of months, but we still have some of those longer months that actually have 5 weeks. So there's really 52 weeks in a year. If we're paid every other Friday, we'd have 26 pays. So then now if we take our $32,500 and divide it by 26, we have a biweekly pay of $1,250. What if we're paid monthly? Not many places are, but maybe some management level positions could be paid monthly. So if we take our $32,500 we divide that by 12, it would be $2,708.33 a month. If we are paid semi-monthly, and many times salaried type workers are like the 1st and the 15th or something like that, then those are paid twice a month. So then there'd be 24 pays, because twice a month, the 12 times 2. So then that would be $1,354.17. So to me, the easiest way to do it is to start with your annual salary and then divide by how many pays. Then you'll be sure that you get the correct answer. Sometimes if you overgeneralize it to think, well, if I knew what it is monthly, I could divide it by 4 to get weekly, you're going to not be correct, because it's not quite that simple. Not all months have the 4 weeks. Okay. Then that's it for section 1. Now then section 2, we get into commissions. So if you're going to work in sales or marketing or something like that, you may very well get paid commissions. So you want to understand those. So one problem deals with like a sliding scale commission. So if you had say a deal where you're saying, okay, you get 6% commission on the first $6,000 in sales. And then if you received 8% on the next $16,000 in sales, and then if we have 15% on all sales over the $22,000. So then again, it's tiered. So your first $6,000 in sales, you're going to get a 6% commission rate. The next $16,000 that you sell, you get 8%. Then if you actually go over the 22, which is the 6 plus the 16, if you go over that 22, then you'll get 15% of those sales. Then if your sales were actually $27,200, how much is your commission? So you tier it out to say, okay, well, my first $6,000, I'm going to get 6%. So I can multiply that out on my calculator. So 6,000 times 6% gives me 360. Then I'm going to get my next 16,000. I get 8%, so I can multiply that out. And that gives us 1,280. And then in this case, I'm up to my 22,000, and I've gone over my 22,000. I'm $5,200 over that. So for that extra $5,200 over the 22,000, I get 15%. So then we'll multiply that out. So 624. So you can see if I add these up here, I've accounted for all of this individual sales. They had 27,200, but I've broken it down into each bracket because each bracket pays a different level of commission. Then I'm going to add them all up, and he'd have a commission of $2,264. All right, then the last concept is more complex, and there's a variety of factors going on in it, but you do have one like this on your test. It's commission plus override, and so we'll have, and that normally occurs if you're a sales manager. So say you're a sales manager of Radio Shack, and you actually sell some things, you'll get commission on it, but then you manage the remainder of the employees there, so then you're going to get a cut of everything they sell also. So then that's going to be our commission plus override, and then we'll also have, again, as a manager, you're going to have a salary, so we'll have to add that salary in. So they will give you the information, but you'll have your personal sales, and then you'll have personal returns. Anytime you work in any type of a commission environment, they are not going to pay you for any returns that come in. I mean, if they did, you would just have everybody you know come in and buy something, and then you'd get the commission, and then they could return it next week, and they wouldn't take that money away from you. That's not how it's going to work, because obviously employers are onto that. So it's going to be your sales less whatever returns have come back over that period, so you will not get paid commission on those. And then you'll also have a quota. You may not always have a quota, but in this problem that's on your test, you have a quota. And that quota is saying that those are going to be just base level sales that they expect of any employee who's working in that shop or that store. So then that you only get paid commission above and beyond that quota. So for us to calculate it, we'll end up subtracting the quota off. So if our personal sales were $5,650, and then we had personal returns of $168, and then we were required to sell a personal quota of $1,000. Then that what's left is going to be subject to commission. So $4,482 is what I'm going to get paid commission on. And then what I multiply this by is our commission rate. So in this particular problem, the personal commission is 5%. So they are going to get $224.10 in commission. So then that is just one piece of their paycheck. Let's see if I can angle that a little bit so you can see it. Okay. So then that's their commission piece. So we've accounted for one of them. Then for the override, then we take our store sales minus our store returns. Now in this case there is no store quota, so the quota only relates to the commission. It's only on your personal sales. This again is dealing with more your management level. You're going to get a cut of whatever all of your workers. If our store sales are $17,312, and then our store returns are $634. We will again subtract those returns from the sales to figure out how much we're able to get paid on. So in this case, it's $16,668, and then the override percent is 1.5%. So normally it's not quite as high because it's not your direct sales. Again, you're getting a cut for managing all the employees. So if we take our $16,668 times 1.5%, we get $250.17. Okay, then our final thing is just our salary. So that's our override. And then we just add to that our salary, which in this particular problem is $400. So then we go back and say, okay, we've accounted for all of those. So if we take our commission of $224.10, if we take our override of $250.17, and then our salary of $400, when we add all of those together, then we'll get the gross pay. So $874.27. So that's probably the most complex one out of this payroll chapter, and then you do have one like that on your test. And really, I think that the mathematics of it is not difficult. You have to understand what each of these terms means. So that your commission is paid on your personal sales. You always subtract out your returns, and in many instances, you have a quota or a required amount you're supposed to sell before getting paid any type of bonus on it. Then, if you're a manager, you have this override where you get a smaller percentage of the entire store's sales less returns, and then the salary for those drier periods where maybe your commission's not so big, at least you're always making some money. So that is it for chapter 6.